Right, hello. It's Saturday, it's windy, I'm still home, I'm not going out. I was going to go and see a film, but yeah, Saturday I may as well go in the week. Um, and today I'm going to draw Mr. Tucker Carlson. Never drawn him before, and he turned up in um, something I was reading, and I thought, oh yes, Tucker Carlson, and I've drawn him. And I looked at it and I saw this picture, and I thought, he's got an interestingly flat and strange face, so I thought, oh, I'm just going to have a try and see what we come up with. Wasn't completely happy with the results of yesterday's Rudy Giuliani, but as is often the case when you start with a face you don't know, it can take a couple of efforts. And I spent a lot of time yesterday trying to draw and Coulter. I think I've figured it. It looks like it, but I haven't quite figured out what to do with it. Yeah, I've got a likeness, but it's nowhere near horrific enough to publish. Oh, I'm trying to think what to do with these awful Samsung case. It's not actually a Samsung case. It's a cheap rip-off of a Samsung case because I can't afford the £300 to get a decent Samsung case. Anyway, sorry. All fixed now. Yeah, I'm thinking. Actually, I'm going to erase that. Sometimes I like to just plop hair on the top of somebody's head when it looks particularly ridiculous, so you end up with an effect a bit like JD Vance had the other day when there was a video, I don't know if you saw it, of him visiting a donut shop, and from the rear it looked like he was wearing a toupee. You kind of he ended up with like a slight Frankie Howard effect. I was going to say, maybe people won't know who Frankie Howard is, but then again, nobody's listening, so it doesn't matter. I used to like Frankie Howard. I'm trying to go for a really broad face here. I don't know how broad and wide I can get away with. At some point I'm not going to make it symmetrical, but for the moment I just need to get a likeness. It's got a tiny mouth as well. Let's see. Pretty boring Saturday, to be honest. It's now sunny, but the wind is still howling a bit. And suddenly, because I've got the chin right, I can suddenly detect a bit of a likeness. So let's try resizing it a little bit. I did consider doing another picture of RFK, but I'm a bit I'm a bit RFK'd out. The man's what a moron. Which I suppose is unfair because I think he's also clearly unwell. But it's a bit pathetic, really. The fact he's got any relevance to American politics is an utter joke, simply because of his name. America prides itself on being a nation who'd escaped the clutches of monarchy. All they've done is repeat monarchy in the form of these dynasties who seem to dominate American culture. It's not the Kennedys, it's the Kardashians. Bloody Trumps. Makes no sense. I don't know why that religion and monarchy don't make any sense to me, but I'm not sure about the eyes. Sometimes it's good. I mean, it's obviously when I looked at it, I thought, oh, his mouth's small, and he's got a pretty boxy, kind of broad nose, but are his eyes far apart, or they feel far apart? This is one of those rules I was talking about yesterday, where when you get books on how to caricature, people say, well, decide whether the person's eyes are wide apart or what shape his face is. But I mean, sometimes you can just do narrow eyes and it can kind of work. And other times, it's a good idea to sort of move them apart and see which you like. Because you can pretty much make any of these things work for you if you nail it right. That's my theory anyway. I think likenesses in any kind of illustration work is one of the great mysteries of life. I'm not sure I actually want the mystery to be solved. It's half the fun is exploring it. The head's feeling a little bit lopsided there for some reason. It's not quite feeling right. I've noticed recently, actually, it's a oh god, I've merged everything on the same level. That's annoying. Not the first time I've ever done that. Yeah, I noticed recently that it seems to be a common feature amongst right-wing demagogues that they all have the same type of mouth. Donald Trump, Elon Musk, Vladimir Putin. It was a drawing the other day. Oh, Farage. There's a load of them. And they all have the pouty little lower lip. I don't know whether there's not something in maybe there's something about like missing the teeth, or I remember reading one of Fleming's books. I think it could be Goldfinger, it could be Moonraker. I don't remember who it was. It was either Goldfinger or Hugo Drax. I think it was Hugo Drax, if I had to guess. And Fleming described him as having the gap between his upper two teeth. And he expressed the theory that people who have got that gap in the top two teeth is something to do with an effect of breastfeeding, I think. I think it kind of makes me wonder about the lower lip on some of these right-wing pundits, whether there's not some weird deficiency either in the psychology or the upbringing which brought them made them into these weird adults who are constantly craving something that they can't get. Why would anybody want to tune into a drawing session where somebody speculates on Nigel Farage's relationship with the female breast? God, I'm going to have to change the rating of this video as well, aren't I? Anyway, that's my 2 cents for Saturday. Discuss it amongst yourselves. He's got one of those hair things which makes him look like he's actually covering up baldness. Again, another one of those things that's hard to quite replicate in drawing. I've been too generous to him. I'm not giving him a neck. He's got quite the So what he's got? He's got one of those. He's one of these men who likes to wear a nice tight collar, which again makes it very suspicious to me because I'm a man who doesn't like to wear any collar. Never been a suit or tie wearer. Don't mind. I wouldn't mind it if I was like well off enough to do it with style. But you know, I quite like journalists who dress up. I always was a fan of P.J. O'Rourke and Tom Wolfe. Tom Wolfe was great for his crazy high collars. Like Keith Olbermann. Keith Olbermann's good for his. Got that 1950s Mad Men vibe going on. But you've got to carry it off right. Carlson seems to have got a bit of a, definitely got a rich country boy kind of. Is it living in the Hamptons or where is it all rich people go during the summer holidays where they filmed? I think they filmed Jaws there, didn't they? Was it Florida? Not the Florida Keys. What's it called? Can't remember. I can remember books, details about breastfeeding in James Bond books, but I can't remember the name of. It's annoying me because it's always in a lot of songs of the 1970s. Martha's Vineyard. That's what I'm trying to remember. Martha's Vineyard. Yeah, he's got the Martha's Vineyard look. Don't suppose he's ever lacked anything. Well, let's make the broadcast miserable and talk about rich kids. I was reading something this week about art and in the UK what percentage of people working in the media in the UK come from a working class background. And it was reported as almost like it was a shocking detail, but it's something I've noticed all my life trying to break into the arts. And from a working class background, I should add, very working class. 8% of people working in the media in the UK come from a working class background. It's appalling. Yet totally in line with my experience. I've even had some snobby rejection letters in my time where it was very much a case of like, you got the impression it was like, how dare somebody like you up there in the north write to us down here in London. Horrible country in many ways, Britain. You always say as you get older, politics become more conservative, but as I've got older, I find my politics have got less conservative. I was more conservative when I was younger. I fell into the lie that the Conservatives were more about freedom, which is a total joke. The more I see of that, the less I believe it. Bottom half of this feels better than the top half, and I'm not quite sure why. Add. I don't know whether to make his chin bigger. I want to try. Let's see how it would look if I went more of a more of a grotesque. I think I got into this style of drawing in a very strange way, actually. It was like, it wasn't actually seeing people like Scarf and Stedman who got me into this style, but it was Leonardo da Vinci. Yes, Leonardo da Vinci. His grotesques are amazing, and there's one of an old guy sideways on. I think it's in his papers somewhere. I think they're part of the. I think they're actually owned by the Crown now. I saw them in Manchester a couple of years ago when they allowed them to leave the vaults, and these cartoons came up, and they were amazingly loved them. Just loved the clarity of the line drawing and just the way they represented it. I think it was a madman, some kind of lunatic. But I really enjoy this style of drawing. I'm going to do his mouth again. See if I can get a little bit more. That weirdness. I'm going to try the eyes a little bit lower, which is, of course, if this was pencil, I could just rub it out and draw them again, but because I'm working on in ink, I can just do that. Again, it's just about exploring the face, seeing where we go with it. I'm going to give him a bit of a brow. Sometimes it's just a case of catching these little details, like the way his mouth opens. And you go from something that has no resemblance, and it can suddenly something just clicks, and you start to see a resemblance, or suddenly the resemblance leaps out at you. A very strange mouth. I can't say it's as they said in Deliverance, a purdy mouth. Yeah, a purdy mouth. Pretty mouth. Yeah, I'm liking that better. It's coming together a bit more. Let's look at the eyes. The eyes are really... How's that looking? It's almost there, but there's still something about the face I'm not liking. I've got a feeling. I think the features are too large for the face. So again, let's just let's try that again. Let's experiment and see how it looks if I make them a little bit. That's better, I think. And let's... Still not happy with his shape. I titled the this today's drawing the spatula faced Freakboy, and that's how I first saw his face, as being very broad up here. Kind of going down like that almost. Let's see if I get any closer. Yeah, we're heading into Jay Leno territory here. That's not quite what I wanted. What I'm going to do, I'm going to totally get rid of all that. I'm just going to keep drawing lines until I find something that works. Ay, 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 ay. One of the things I discovered with drawing is one of those little wrinkles is that the temptation is always to draw the shape of the face, whereas sometimes you're better off making the lines at the edges, like the jawline, run into the neck and just end before the chin, like that. Because actually the thing with his face is it doesn't necessarily have a particularly well-defined jawline. And it looks a little bit better, I think. It's looking a little bit better with it not actually drawn in. Okay. I'm just going to pull the mouth away from the... Let's see. This is proving a little bit trickier than I expected. Sometimes I look at a face and I think that one's going to be easy. And in this case, it should be easy, and I'm not quite finding why it's not working. Unfortunately, I'm seeing too much Sean Hannity. It's distracting me. I don't know whether there is a look of Sean Hannity, whether the two people do look similar, or whether I've just not got this shape right. Might be the eyes, just not quite there yet. I'm getting a combination of Sean Hannity and Jay Leno. Thank God I never did these as a tutorial series. The only thing I can teach people is how to draw like me, which is trial and error, and lots of hours. Come on, Carlson, you sod. Where's your bloody face? I'm taking the eyes out. Oh, my hand's gone dead. Look at this awful tablet case. I could stand it up on my desk, but I don't want to be hitting my desk all the time, otherwise the microphone would be constantly clanging. Right, I'm going to start it. Not this, I'm not going to start it all again, but I'm going to. As much as I quite like the nose and the mouth, and I've done a lot of work on that, I don't. Something, I think I might not have got the nose long enough. Let's try it again. Long nose. Very blocky nose. Tiny mouth. Get a slight. I don't think he has got one. There's something about his top lip which is a little bit like he's got a hair lip. That's better. That's feeling better. Not sure where the chin's going to go there. Increasing the pan-faced Freakboy ness. This is always the least. I don't actually enjoy this stage of. I mean, that's a lie. Actually, I do quite enjoy this stage of drawing. If I'm in the mood for it, the figuring it out stage. But sometimes I just want to relax, and I like finishing drawings. That's looking more like it. Still not convinced by the mouth, but it could be because he's not got the right shape mouth. Yeah, I was really disappointed. No, I wasn't. I was going to say I wasn't disappointed with RFK, but he has ruined Curb Your Enthusiasm for me. Being married to Cheryl Hines, who used to play Larry's wife in the first few series, and I always liked Cheryl Hines. I thought she was great in it, and I was always disappointed when she left. Years ago, when I did my book, and I wrote to a lot of Hollywood people, and had a lot more success getting replies from Hollywood people than I ever had writing to British celebrities. I actually got a letter from Cheryl Hines. It was partly promoting some charity work she was doing, but she signed it, and it was an actual reply to my letter, written in the guise of my alter ego. It was a nice letter. I don't think that works. I was always very pleased with it, and then she married that idiot. I feel sorry for him in a way because whereas I'm pretty certain Donald Trump knows he's talking rubbish, I think RFK actually believes the stuff he's coming out with. poisonous pseudoscience. And I figure knowing you're doing evil is worse than being blind to your evil. So yeah, I feel somewhat sorry for him. I feel sorry for all the Kennedys who are stuck with him in there, destroying their reputation. And the media are complicit in it because they shouldn't be called. I mean, I've called him RFK Jr. We shouldn't do that. We lend him a degree of historical relevance which isn't hasn't been earned. We're basically, he's riding the coattails of his father and his uncle, constantly mentioning them, which is problematic if you claim to be your own person, but he exists in a constant state of his own nepotistic privilege, afforded him largely by the American people and the American media, who are obsessed with all things Kennedy. Again, it's becoming like a religion. It affords them a kind of dynastic significance, as though they know stuff just because they were born into a certain family. As he proves, even great families, if you believe in such things, can have complete idiots amongst them. It was quite funny watching I watched a little bit of Trump's rally last night before I went to sleep, and not because I'm a fan of Trump, but because I write about politics. I do need to, I think I need to track what's going on and the developments. And he was about to introduce, he hadn't actually mentioned he was going to introduce Robert F. Kennedy Jr. But he suddenly started to go on about the neocons, as though Donald Trump either knows what a neocon is, or has ever mentioned neocons. He has never mentioned, I'm pretty certain he's never mentioned neocons. He wouldn't know he wouldn't be able to define a neoconservative if his life depended on it. But it straight out of the Kennedy manifesto. It was clearly a sop to Kennedy to get his nomination, get him out of his nominations out in those swing states where it's been hurting Trump. And he's not fully withdrawn, I notice, so he's still going to have he's got a sword hanging over Trump a little bit, I think. Can you imagine a second Trump presidency is going to have Robert F. Kennedy in charge of the drugs administration people, and Elon Musk in charge of Labour? Christ, it's depressing. Again, I'm messing around with this face shape, but I'm probably going to ruin it again. I had it fairly close to what I liked, but... Oh, you idiot. I'm going to merge all those now. And I'm going to put it down a little bit. With Tucker Carlson, you've got to, I think the tie actually has a little bit of significance. The fact he wears such ridiculously non-TV and old-fashioned kind of clothes. When doing narrow-shouldered. Again, not yet convinced by this one. Take that for a little while. Let me just. I think we're going to have a bit of an experimentation with the top of the head. When I'm struggling to get a likeness, I find my drawings swing back from where I want them, which is quite surreal, and back into a kind of slightly formulaic what's the word? Portraiture. If I could even use a word as pretentious as portraiture when talking about my work. But yeah, I'm just going for a straight. They end up just being like a straight drawing. I don't really want that. I want it more out there. Seems like this large lump of hair at the front, which is Now I'm going to come back down to his nose, and I'm going to make his nose wider. Like I say, I'm worried that I'm not. I'm just ending up drawing a bad. I'm just doing a really bad portrait of him. Better. Can I take them out further? You make your choices, and you. Don't mind that. I don't mind it because it's weird and unusual. Yeah. The thing is, when you're drawing on a stream, you feel like an obligation to get it done quickly, whereas in real life, I could spend hours pulling this around like this. Finding my way into the drawing, finding my way into the face. I'm sort of hoping it happens on the stream, so I'm aware, like, I'm thinking, well, do I need to get this drawing finished in 1 hour 30? Whereas I've spent 40 minutes now so far, and I'm not even into the stage of filling in some details, but actually I am now feeling that is going a place where I actually quite like it. I don't know whether to do like little. I'm kind of not quite sure what this is, but I'm kind of feel like I want to do that along that line, but I don't mind that. I don't mind it. I don't know why. So I am gonna come in and start put a little bit of cross hatching in because I think he's got the cheeks like a Norfolk farmer or something. He's got that. Maybe he's been playing polo all afternoon. He's got that kind of slightly Prince Charles, rosy cheeked. Is it exercise? Is it alcohol? Kind of look. Who knows? And then of course we've got the usual darkness around the eyes, which is when I'm doing these pictures of these kinds of people, I do like them to look shady, because that's how I see them. I mean, by the same score, I always want them to put them into some completely obscene tableau, and it gets a bit boring, I think. I should really be thinking up more jokes and to actually put them into jokes, but when I'm doing this, I'm not really interested in writing. I'm just enjoying the drawing process. So I don't really think in terms of jokes, and I've been put off drawing gag cartoons because over the years I've realised that gag cartoonists are not really interested in decent drawing, and it's become even more so in recent years. The whole market for gag cartoons seems to have gone to a really, really naive style. Stick figures almost. I mean, there are some awful modern toss cartoons are all basically stick figures, usually mouthing some obscenity in a completely apropos of nothing. And, that's that. You see, that's subtly feeling like that's Tucker Carlson. I'm gonna draw a couple of little marks in there. I don't know why. Right, I'm gonna come in and I'm just gonna start doing some cross hatching, because in a minute I'm gonna have to come back and I'm gonna have to start drawing all those lines in. I just like to. The cross hatching can somehow just help me see it a little bit better. I'm still. Yeah, that's better. I'm going to merge all those layers again. I'm going to duplicate the layer, because just in case I make a complete hash of whatever I do next, I like to have a copy so I can always go back to where I just was. So let's think. I'm going to do the I'm going to trace some of this. Tracing it is usually the quickest, although I don't always do it. Depends. I suppose it depends on the confidence I have with the. If I'm a little bit more confident with the drawing, I'll trace it, and if I'm not, I'll slowly work my way over the drawing, keep redefining the lines until I'm absolutely certain I have what I want. Move to the standard pen. I could actually just leave. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that. I'm going to use what I've already got there, because it's pretty clean. Okay, now here. My hand wobbled. Oh hell, I didn't realise I actually merged those. That's not too bad. Delete. What have I done there? Oh no, that's okay. I thought I'd merged the cross hatching onto the underlying layer, so I hadn't. That's okay. That's okay. That's all okay. Delete all that. What about that? Let's see how it looks. Looking better. Right. So let's come back into here. Gonna bring that up and try to delete as much as I can. Oh, it's in that. Didn't realise I had some left in that. What do? I'm going to delete all that. I don't need any of that now. For the ear. I'm not sure what I've got in it. Any one layer here, to be honest. What layer is that on? What's on that one? That feels. I said that about Rudy Giuliani yesterday, though, and it's funny. You do. You hear stories of artists, you know, proper artists, leaving a work and coming back in the room, and the problem that's been bothering them, suddenly they see it for the first time and then they make the adjustment. And art is an iterative process of refinement, and you certainly see work with a different eye sometimes. What was that layer there? And my Giuliani's today, I kind of came back to it later on and thought, not quite right, not quite there. So I am going to do another Giuliani. I'm still obviously learning his face. I'm going to merge these now. Oh, I shouldn't have merged the cross hatching. No, I like to keep my cross hatching separate. which I failed to do, but I'm going to merge those 3 layers. Let's see what we have now. So we've got all that on that layer, that on that layer, which isn't too bad. I'm human. I make lots of mistakes. But if you view mistakes as being the process, they're not mistakes. What was Bob doing? Bob Ross called them happy accidents. Never been a fan of Bob Ross. I mean, the videos are kind of cute and everything, but his paintings are awful. Just, ugh. I mean, I wish I could paint as well as that, but you know, the actual things he painted were just not my cup of tea. But I don't think he was going to ever teach people how to draw the kind of things I'd like him to teach me to draw. You're an idiot. Keep your cross-hatching on a separate layer. Not entirely sure I've got enough grotesque features in this. It's all a bit bit too kind. I'd hate to be kind with these people. I'd like to try to think I'm capturing some kind of... I'm either invoking some hex on them, or I'm drawing their inner souls. Don't really fancy just spending my afternoons, Saturday afternoon, drawing a polo player up from the Hamptons. The Hamptons. Where are the Hamptons? I assume they must be outside New York somewhere, but that's a guess. I assume there must be some really affluent areas outside New York. I once wrote to a guy who lived in one of those places. Name was Chuck. Oh my god, I forgot his name. He made the Gong Show. He was the host of the Gong Show. I used to love the Gong Show. Actually, I didn't so much love the Gong Show. I loved him on the Gong Show. He was great. And he wrote a book where he claimed to have worked for the CIA, and years later George Clooney made it into a film called Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. But I wrote to him, partly a fan letter, partly because I found his address and I was writing to lots of celebrities, Hollywood, movie, TV celebrities, and he wrote back to me. Not a great letter, but I'd sent him I'd sent him $1 or $2 or whatever it was for return postage, and he sent it back saying he couldn't keep it, which was it was a kind of reply. I don't know if he even signed it. Which would have been the disappointment if he hadn't signed it, but I can't remember. I'll have to find it in my file. That happened a few times. Famous people sending stuff back and not signing it. I've got one by Terry Gilliam, which was really, really frustrating. Wasn't a particularly nice note. I think that might have gone in my first book, the Terry Gilliam one, but it wasn't signed. It was just a slightly sharp reply, which disappointed me because I am a Terry Gilliam fan. As far as I'm fans of anybody, I'm not really there's people I like, but I'm not really into the fanboy stuff. When I start feeling like that, I end up stop being interested. This is okay. It's early stages of a drawing. It's okay. I don't think it's as easy these days. It would be as easy to do the books I did years ago. There's a way to find addresses, and everybody's a little bit more attuned to privacy. You can write to like fan club pages and go through agents and things, but I don't know whether they pass them on as much as they used to. Which is a shame, really. Real shame. He's not really got a sharp jaw, he's got quite a rounded jaw. See how that looks. Yeah, that's better. I'm wondering how far I can push his nose into. I'm gonna really see if I can cross-hatch the hell out of it and make it look bulky and like he's been hit by like he's been crushed by a polo pony. Probably doesn't play polo, but just kind of looks like one of those noses. Slightly flattened. He's definitely got a little bit of a flattened. There's something going on there. I feel like I need to convey it better, and I don't quite know how to. I think the picture would look better if I could get a little more better sense of depth or lack of depth, because it all feels a bit like it could be on the same kind of plane. So let's a bit like that, maybe. Bit more. I don't know, it just seems a little bit more squashed. like that. That looks better, but maybe I need to... give him some lower teeth and see if that helps the illusion. Yeah, not too bad. I'm not going to be able to finish this one in a live stream. I don't know whether I'll just go and finish it off elsewhere, but I'm not even sure why I'm drawing them, to be honest. I've had another idea of a book, but I don't know whether a book of just drawings would be all that attractive to people. I'm taking that out because I'm thinking maybe giving more of a he has got kind of a wide, slightly Vulcanish. Like I feel like I want to draw ridges on his nose like a Vulcan, like that. I don't know if that would work. In a weird way, it might. Let's go with it and see what happens. I don't quite know why that works, but somehow it does for me. Kind of. This is where it becomes slightly more like a work of fiction. I'm not actually interested in total fidelity to his face. I'm interested in making a kind of strange parody of his face almost. I'm getting it, but what I'm thinking of doing now is I'd still want to imply this level of, I want his nose to feel slightly squashed. So what I'm thinking of doing is giving him a bit more of a, what do you take off that side there, draw this one as a kind of curved round, and it implies a sort of the nose going in on itself. How does that look? He also needs a little bit more bottom lip, I think. I might be wrong here, but here's another one of these very pouty buggers. Let's give him a bit more lip. Yeah, I seem to be going through a period where I don't really fancy going the pictures. I don't know whether it's I'm not interested in the films they're showing, but I've not been watching films at home for some strange reason, which is a bit unlike me. But I have been doing a lot of drawing, so it could just be that I'm really enjoying drawing again. Got the period when I can be very, very intensely into something to the exclusion of like everything else, and then I move on. I'm not particularly faddish because I don't really have fads. The things I do now are the things I've been doing for many years. I just go through periods when I do them more, less. I seem to have like seasons for my interests. I really want to go and do some photography, but it'd have to be somewhere I want to photograph. I don't really. A bit worn out walking around St Helens and Warrington, taking pictures of the same things. I'm just going to carry on doing the usual. I'm going to leave his hair for the moment. I just want to carry on establishing the rest of the picture. Not sure why I left a gap there, but I'm thinking that's the darkest bit, but I was going to cross-hatching. I should probably have rubbed it out because it was a little bit too rushed, but I think I'm going to be going over it so much I don't think you'll see any of that. I also need to come back and finish this shirt off. It looks a mess. Just trying to be a little bit selective in where I'm put my cross-hatching, so I got a slightly different shade on the left compared to the right. Not entirely sure that was successful, but who's judging? Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. I wish I could think of some greater context to put him in. I've not brought a drink up with me today. I've not brought me coffee. I'm a coffee down on the day. Although I'm badly running out of coffee now, so I should probably ration it a bit. Yeah, I've gone and put all this in the same layer, which is bad. But let's draw it all in again. I need to delete all that now and see how bad it looks. Let's get my big eraser on. Not bad. Not bad. But I'm going to come in, I'm going to carefully now I'm going to try to do this shirt with a little bit more precision if I can. It's one of the most effective things you can do in a line drawing is any kind of pattern or texture. I'm not very good at it at all. People who are just kind of takes work to another level. One of the best at that, I think, is Edward Gorey, the Gothic style children's author. He could do all kinds of amazing kind of what's the name of the Victorian who made wallpaper? William Morris. All kinds of William Morris style textures. Could be amazing. I've tried to do it in the past, but I usually have to cheat a little bit, create one shape and then replicate it, and then keep replicating it until I have a wall covered in the shape, and then I'll laboriously go over it with a pen, and I couldn't possibly do it unassisted. Then again, I don't know how he did it. I mean, he could have used a stencil of some kind, but I'm going to do a different style. I was just going to do thick layers for his tie, but I'm not. I'm going to be a little bit more artsy. Still going to leave his hair. I need to do the eyebrows as well, but I'm just going to draw in my usual left-handed side of her. Let's clean that. Is that on that level? No, it's not. Oh, it's on background. Weird. We'll turn that level off now. Cross section. Black. I wonder how many YouTube streamers have got 0 views. I could be setting new records here. I saw a woman on the other day on, I think it was on Twitter, the woman with the world's widest tongue, and I thought, if they've got a category for world's widest tongue, I mean, there's no end to the kind of things you could judge as the world's biggest, widest, longest, heaviest, lightest. But then when you think about it in any depth, the entire world record infrastructure, the entire edifice of the notion of world records is completely pointless. They're a completely arbitrary set of criteria judged by imperfect humans about an incomplete data set. I mean, she's got the world record for the world's widest tongue, but I bet there are people out there who've got wider tongues than her. I was listening to Keith Olbermann, a podcast Keith Olbermann did a while ago, talking about the 4-minute mile and how Roger Bannister probably didn't run the world's first 4-minute mile. The person who probably ran the first 4-minute mile was possibly a black British, I think maybe it was was it a blacksmith or something? But it was somebody like in the 1700s, 1800s, who was an amateur runner. And one, the timekeeping wasn't quite up to standard, so nobody's got the evidence that that they had the record. But then at some point the records were kind of deleted and rendered unofficial, so only the modern records were deemed legitimate, which was a decision by some group of posh establishment Brits, white Brits, very Victorian or Edwardian or whatever, very high-handedly decided that the only records that would count were the records from that point onwards. So therefore the records could be set now by authorised, representatives of the British Empire. I'm hugely oversimplifying it, but I think this is the fundamental battle we're really still fighting with the likes of Tucker Carlson and RFK to a certain extent, but maybe not RFK, more like, I think RFK is just a complete lunatic, but the right wing, it's a battle of mythologies. They're always championing the Judeo-Christian tradition, as though tradition were somehow the truth. God help you if you don't want to live by some ancient tradition. That's where they come along and start telling people how to run their lives. They're so hypocritical. I noticed the other day I actually saw a clip of I ended up seeing some of the Republican convention where Kid Rock had performed, and if you actually read the lyrics to American Badass that he sang on that night in front of that audience, they've got no right to then criticise others for sexually explicit prose in literature or whatever. They love to pick and choose who is and who isn't deemed moral. I mean, they make excuses for Donald Trump, who's suddenly not a philanderer. He's an alpha male whose sexuality can't be curtailed, and that sexuality is God-given. Christ. What hypocrites. Yeah, this is alright. Not again, I mean, I'm not claiming any great things for it, it's just stuff I like to draw, and it amuses me. I did a book of 101 of these sort of pictures a while ago, and I couldn't interest anybody in it, but I'm not sure I want to do another 101 of them looking at America, but maybe I will. I have got an idea actually of doing it, how I would do it. I would do it differently this time, but I'll have to explore that idea. It would involve a different way of my drawing, which interests me to explore a different style, but and I have done some of it in the past, but I might have to explore it again. The idea of doing dozens of drawings in this other style is the challenge of it is actually quite attractive to me. I'm just not sure about the practicalities of my achieving that. The thing with drawing hair I've discovered is its individual strands don't really matter so much, but try to let me see it here, let me see if I can explain it. I do one and I do one next to it, and between those two I get the sense of a lock, an individual lock. So I try to work around that individual lock like that, and then I'm coming here and doing it, and wherever I see something that looks like a lock I then kind of draw around it. So it's not always a matter of where you put the lines, it's a matter of where you don't put the lines. So you get a sense of more of locks kind of flowing around each other. That was an awful example of it. I don't like that one though. That's... There's a good example of it. That line here looks like it's going behind that line there. So you do get a sense of like locks kind of intersecting each other. I mean, whether it works or not, I don't know. I'm not to judge, but I find it moderately convincing. I think the hair drawing of hair has improved a little bit since I don't scribble in, and I try to have a little bit more of a method. Let's come back up here, and I do like ending the putting in little individual hairs. You actually can make it look a little bit more convincing. I'll probably zoom out and it'll look awful, but no, it kind of looks okay. So. Sometimes what I do when I do this kind of stuff is let's see if I can do it. Let me try. It might not work this time because I'm probably not done enough, but you can actually come in and take out the underlying line there like that, and yeah, that's actually I'm going to do that. I'm going to see how that looks. Yeah, that looks okay. I'm going to keep that. But here I'm going to have to draw in. Yeah, I'm actually. Oh, that's a bit too. That might be a little bit too thick. That. Here I do actually have to emphasise the that there is a lock. No, I made a mess of that, didn't I? Try it again. I don't want to lose the lock completely. So let me just. Oh, it's not worked at all. Let's start again. In fact, I might just let me have a look. Yeah, I think I do need to emphasise the lock. So let me just check there's nothing. Let's try again. I'm just trying to define this sort of section by putting a little bit more shading on the top of it like that. It's not terrible, quite not bad, not bad. The question now is whether actually I'm going to also take out some of these lines. Yeah, I don't mind it. Don't mind that. But when I do that, I do like to just come in and thin off the ones that go into the brow a little bit, because then it doesn't look such a stark contrast. I mean, I'm not sure you entirely need these lines given the fact you've got cross hatching going down the sides, but there we go. Let's come in here and do the same. Just leave a little hint of them. Yeah. I'm not sure about that. I'm still. I feel like it's funny. It's like the pitch. I kind of had his face, and then I feel like I've lost it somehow. But that just sometimes happens, and it's awful when it does. But I'm thinking of is it Brett somebody? One of the CNN guys is looking a bit too much like him now. Not Brett Bear, is it? The old guy. Well, he hasn't got any eyebrows. That's possibly why. Let's get some eyebrows in there. Eyebrows are always a tricky thing to draw. I would say they're my least favourite part of a drawing. I've never felt like I've quite mastered the... Well, I've obviously not mastered anything, but I don't feel like I've ever mastered drawing a good eyebrow. Right, that'll do. I've done 90 minutes. Not that I was measuring 90 minutes, but 90 minutes is about how much I tend to do in one sitting. I've not exercised today, and I should really exercise, but it's 4 o'clock. I've been putting off my exercises lately. I've been a bit tired, so I've not done as much as I used to. Although I've lost so much weight, I've been feeling like I maybe need to put some back on. That'll do for the moment. Might come back to it. I haven't decided about the hair. Yeah, so I'm going to leave it there. Oh, my legs have gone dead as well. Let me save it. Thank you for listening. If anybody's listening, if anybody's watching, you can follow me on Twitter, David Waywell, or email me, waywellcartoons@gmail.com, or leave a comment. Please follow, subscribe, like. Good God, the idea of liking it. And I might do another one at some other point. I might finish this one. I might do something else. As you can tell, I'm not kind of satisfied. That went off at the last minute, and I don't quite know where. I'm going to come back to this one. Okay. Thank you for listening. See you again.